Okay, so hi
Wait,
there.
can we try? You're super happy. Can we try the video since I'm on a
Yeah,
different source?
yeah,
Because it would be so awesome
it would be so awesome. Let's
to
see.
look at you through this
And I
conversation.
got my ring light.
Whoa!
Oh,
Here, you want to see our ring light? It's this window.
Cool. Hi, this was something that Juan had in his garage. I was like, were you going to make
cool.
YouTube videos or something? I don't know. So anyway, um,
That's awesome.
cool. So you guys have been like on the road having quite the different coronavirus experience, huh?
Yeah, the C word. Yeah, we're making the most of it, you know. Um,
It's been crazy. It's been a real journey. Um, like, I have a feeling that our experience has been um, very different from most people's, in that we were living on the road when, um,
yeah. When
when everything
everything,
happened, when every,
Right.
and, and we were paying attention, but it was all just kind of unfolding in slow motion. You had
Yeah.
to,
Yeah. Well, when I saw you guys, it was like just the beginning of it. And we were like,
yeah,
I don't know what's going on, but okay, I guess we'll see if this concert we're supposed to do next month takes place.
yeah. And we
Obviously
had
it
high hopes.
didn't.
I was optimistic. I thought that it would. I'm like, oh, this will blow over in a few weeks.
Yeah. Yeah.
And shortly after we saw you, our hotel concierge, he was like, "Oh, you guys got to get out of here! Like they're gonna lock down Seattle. Like all this talk about concentration camps." And all, we were like, "We don't know what he's talking about, but let's get out of here." So we left.
Well, that's
but
hardcore.
Yeah.
at that moment, we were supposed to go up to Vancouver for an event.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and I have a brother that lives up there, and we were going to go visit him and stay with him for a little bit. And we were afraid that if we left the country, and we had all kinds of book gigs in California after that, so we were afraid that if we went up to Canada, that we
We'd get
wouldn't
stuck.
be able to get back in the U.S.
Yeah.
That
Yeah.
I might be able to get back in, but she wouldn't
Mm-hmm.
because she's a Canadian citizen.
Mm.
We stayed on the U.S. side, hoping that all the April and May gigs would happen, and well, lo and behold, they didn't happen.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, we've just been on the road and
But then the interesting thing is her immigration status is her 6 months is almost up.
mm-hmm.
So we are in the awkward position of waiting and watching the borders on a daily basis, because after like June 5th,
Mm-hmm.
she's got to get we have to leave the country
Right.
together one way or another. We have to either go into Canada and hope we can come back. We don't know if they'll let me, an American citizen, into Canada. We don't know if we can even go to Mexico.
Mm-hmm.
And we may just have to like hop on a plane to Thailand because we don't want to be separated, and we don't want the
Can you go
government.
to Thailand?
I don't know right now. Yeah,
Hedilander was supposed to go back to Thailand. He wasn't able to go back.
Oh,
right.
really?
Yeah.
Okay.
That's
I don't
the
know.
only country I know about right now, actually. I mean, and France, because my dad can't go back to France.
Oh, okay. So yeah, we're not sure yet. Like Canada was supposed to open May 21st. So
Okay.
whether that's still going to happen or whether they're going to extend that, I'm just waiting to see day by day. And then we'll
Wow.
decide
Yeah.
what we're doing.
Well,
Yeah.
and my brother actually just moved to Vancouver, and he was
Okay.
coming through here like right before we were starting to hear all about the virus, and
Yeah.
he moved with his girlfriend, and they had the same sort of like immigration thing. They had to get out of the U.S. because she's from Sri Lanka. No, sorry. Well, she's Sri Lanka, but she's from New Zealand.
Okay.
So she's allowed to live in Canada, but not, whatever, her work
Right.
expired, I guess. So yeah, they went to Canada, and I was supposed to like see him all the time because he's so close, you know, but yeah, that hasn't happened. So,
Yeah.
yeah.
It's crazy. Just the number of people that haven't been able to see each other, you know, we can't see friends and parents and
Yeah.
brothers and sisters, and it's been way too long. It's just been way too long.
Yeah.
But we had a crazy thing happen last night.
Yeah.
We've been
You're in
broadcast in lieu of being able to like go out and do events. We've been broadcast. We ended up in Sedona. Don't ask me how.
We're in Sedona right now.
So we're in Sedona, and so every night around sunset, we go out into the Red Rocks, and we do like a mini concert. We'll lead a meditation, do a mini concert. So we did that, and then we were coming back, and I had my guitar on my back in the parking lot. We're staying at a hotel. The rates are really cheap right now, so you can get a room. Note to self, Sirgun, have a good room in Sedona for cheap.
Right.
And this woman approached us and asked if we would come play for her and her friends. She and her girlfriends they had an apartment and at this place, and they just wanted some entertainment.
Oh.
And
nice.
so we looked at it and we said, okay, that sounds cool.
Yeah.
And we went over there last night. They were artists and musicians themselves. And so we went over, and they just wanted a few songs. And so we played out on their patio. We played for them. I played the guitar, she played the cajon. So it was our small setup, right? And it was kind of miraculous to like actually meet and connect with other humans in the midst of this crazy, like all the other interactions are like trying to stay 6 feet apart at the
right. Or like,
yeah,
you know,
Renee, all right, everyone.
I watched two people go on a date on their respective picnic blankets with masks on while we were at the park the other day.
Is that what people are doing? Oh my god.
I don't know. That was what they were doing. When you go to the parks here, it seems like actually people aren't protecting themselves as much.
Nice.
Or however you see it, protecting others.
Yeah. No, it's just good to see people breathing. And
yes, I know. Well, and there's so much open space here. It makes, you know, like I had to go into Costco the other day, and they're mandating that people wear masks, and I was like, this is so disorienting. Oh my gosh, how do people do this? But you know, whatever. That was their rule, and I needed stuff from Costco. So
yeah.
But yeah, I can't imagine like being at a park.
Wearing a mask.
Oh, I know. Anyway.
I mean, yeah.
Well, that's the thing. Like, we've been all over, right?
Yeah, yeah.
And I just want to straight up say, you know, sheltering in place, quarantining, it's a rich people's game.
Yeah.
Right? We were in Monterey. All the farm workers were out doing their thing with all the other farm workers. You know, and where are the, you know, who's putting the food on the trucks that comes to Costco?
Right.
Right? They're farm workers. Are they wearing masks? Hell no. You know, and on and on. Who's picking up the sanitation? Are these got, you know, are they protected? You know, no. Are these people? I really believe that we got a preview of the class nature of who has to wear a mask and who doesn't. We were back in November before, when it was going on in China, but nothing had happened here. We were at my mother's a home where she stays. It's a group home, right? And we were in the dining area, and they were making all the help, mostly Black people, wear masks who hadn't gotten a flu shot.
Oh, well, yeah, I've heard of that before. Not the class thing, but yeah, my friend who's a nurse, somebody
care provider of some kind.
Anyway, she's a care provider. She would feel like kind of pressured into having to get a flu shot every year because otherwise you had to wear a mask. Yeah. But yeah, that's, yeah. The logic is so fuzzy to me too. I mean, I like, for me, I'm like, if it's out there, then I want to encounter it because I want my body to know what it is, you know? But anyway.
Yeah, like limiting ourselves from exposing ourselves to all the viruses and all the bacteria that's out there is really putting us at making us weaker.
Yeah.
So we're more likely to catch any virus at this point because of all this isolation.
Yeah.
So just the
so,
logic.
You know, I make sure to touch everything and not wash my hands.
Yeah, us too. Well, it was cool last night when we played for those 5 women on their patio. They had no fear. Like, we all gave each other hugs. They wanted hugs. They didn't want to do the mask thing or the distancing thing. And one woman was a nurse from a different state. I can't remember which state. And her hours were cut because there were less people in the hospital than usual. So she had no work. So,
interesting.
Yeah, it was just.
Another woman was from Hawaii, and she told us that in Hawaii, they are ticketing people if you're not wearing a mask out in public.
Oh, wow.
So if you were in that said park, you would have to wear a mask, otherwise you would be subject to fine or possibly imprisonment. I don't know.
But she didn't want to go home, so she's hanging out in Arizona, and they just lifted basically, I don't know about all the restrictions, but as of last Friday, the public pools are open, the restaurants are open, and the restaurants are packed. Like, there's no buffer between tables. It's just normal patios packed with people.
Wow.
Yeah, it's really cool to see.
But it's really interesting too, because there seems to be a corporate stance and a state stance.
Yeah.
So the state stance is here, open up, right? So this hotel that we're staying at, its management feels, fine. We're happy if the state says we can do it, we're going to do it. Other hotels that are like more corporate chain hotels, no, still shut down. You know, we walked into Whole Foods the other night, and their dude is handing out a mask.
It's optional, but it was optional. I mean, here it is anyway.
Oh, good. Okay.
Oh, in Washington. So it's still, it's optional.
At Whole Foods, yeah.
At Whole Foods, but not at Costco.
Not at Costco.
So, and Amazon and
I almost
Starbucks.
feel like that's fair, though. I mean, if you're going to someone's private establishment, just like if you're going to someone's home, you go by their rules. Whatever.
Fair enough. Fair enough.
I want to,
to take off your
I could
shoes.
choose not to patronize Costco if I wanted to,
Yeah.
But the things that we sort of consider public spaces and that everybody gets to share,
right? That
starts to feel a little bit like a government seizure of your rights.
Absolutely.
I mean, and then it's like, well, the precedent is there.
Right. The precedent, that's the thing. My sense is that they're going to only roll back as little as they have to.
Yeah. Well, where I thought you were going with that, with the corporate thing too, is like, it seems like there's this, so I don't think maybe Governor Ducey, because he's just in Phoenix. No, he's all Arizona. Yeah, correct.
I'm not.
I don't know how government works. I'm sorry. But anyway, the people who decided that Arizona was going to come open, that pisses a lot of people off because they're saying you're choosing, business and whatever over people's health. And from that standpoint, it's like, yeah, that's something to get enraged about. We should care about people more than we care about business, or, people's health. But then but then it's like, well, is keeping businesses closed actually harming people's health?
It is, exactly. Yeah. I mean, I've, researching things, like more people will be getting sick and dying because of this whole thing. Like they're afraid to go to the hospitals to get their normal cancer treatments or their heart disease checkups, and they're just not going. And so what about those people and the small businesses that are suffering? Because Costco's fine, Walmart's fine, but you know what?
Right.
Joe's lattes are not fine. And, you know,
the wave of
the stress.
The wave of foreclosures and bankruptcies that are about to wash over this country, like personal and business.
Yeah.
I was just talking to a friend of mine the other day, someone I work with all the time. Sweet woman. I'm sure you know her. She was telling me she's going through a bankruptcy right now. You know, like, boom.
Yeah.
What have we been in 2 months? I mean, how long can small businesses, and I run a small business, it's called being an artist, an independent artist. How long can a small business not have its income cut so significantly while the big businesses thrive? The small businesses like are suffering, and that puts pressure on everybody. That puts pressure on the families. Okay, that makes long-term has long-term implications far beyond this moment. A bankruptcy, a foreclosure, just the destruction, the ability to carry on any kind of sense of normalcy under severe economic distress is, what is that? And we know lots of people, Synonymous Cancer Tour. I don't know what Mirabai is doing. That means the musicians that were going out on the road with Synonymous, you know what, they booked that time they were supposed to get, they're not getting paid. The venues, when we go back to when the lockdown is lifted, are these places, are these studios where I had gigs set up, are they even going to be able to open their doors? Are they even going to exist anymore?
Yeah. Did you look into applying for the Music Cares, like the grants and the like unemployment for musicians and stuff like that?
Yeah, I'm much more interested in my own business than asking for charity.
Well,
that's
it
my
was a
feeling.
grant yeah, okay.
I don't want to jump through the grant. I am applying for everything I'm eligible for.
Yeah.
Please send me that link.
I assumed you would have gotten it because it was one of like the Recording Academy things.
Oh no, I haven't signed up.
Oh, okay. I'm not eligible because I didn't tour very much last year. I don't think I'd be eligible. But you, since you're doing it full time, you would definitely be.
Yeah, I'll look into it. Sure. Another thing to do I would rather pivot to teaching and building an online business for myself that's immune from the dictates of the government. I mean, that's where we've been focusing our time, is building our brand online, offering, yoga classes, workshops, partnering with other studios that are doing things, learning how to Zoom, learning that you don't live stream music over Zoom because the sound quality isn't. I mean, just really doing the work in the technical realm to get things up and running online to sort of insulate ourselves from the future, because once this passes, who knows when the next one's coming, or is there a new strain ready to be unveiled in fall? Forget the new Star Wars movies.
I was just gonna say, it's like the new fall fashion line of viruses.
Exactly. What's the fall virus? The latest virus.
That virus is so last year. Yeah. It's funny, not funny, but
for sure.
It's weird times, strange times for sure.
Yeah. Well, and it sounds like having a business that is immune to the whims of touring, could be something that would be beneficial to you. in any event, you know.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So that's really the focus is
Just
about,
online community. It's
Yeah.
great that people are, and there's probably there's a lot more people that are looking for online yoga and just connecting over the interweb. So that's really cool.
Yeah, for sure.
That's a positive thing, but it's just this unknown of what's unfolding, and uh, the limits to our freedom, to our personal freedoms, and we all have to sort of speak up. And there's a balance, you know, between, none of us want people to get sick, none of us want people to die, but I think there's kind of a division. Like, we all have different ideas of how to get there, and it's like you were saying, I don't know if these restrictions are causing less people to die. That's kind of the debate right now. So
yeah.
what the pros and cons, how do you measure, you know, the pros and cons? But this definitely isn't a good thing long term.
something that I've been thinking a lot about is just, you know, what is our work? And our work is really the reason I don't do what I do because I'm going to get rich doing it. I do what I do because I love helping people connect with their own light. And that is the music that we make and the yoga that we teach is always with that goal in mind, to help bring people into their own power, the awareness, the elevation of consciousness. That's the real work, okay? And that's what's being shut down by this. And the people whose business is connecting people, these are artists, these are musicians, these are all the people who support artists and musicians, right? All the businesses built up around that. So people who are in creative people tend to be more aware to begin with because that's their livelihood. Writers, you know, artists, musicians, producers, the venues that work with and connect with the production companies that produce the content that we all love to enjoy, you know, the movies and shows and stuff. That's who's out of work.
Mm-hmm.
The creatives, and then the ancillary work that the creatives do to support themselves while they're being creative, the restaurant jobs, the hair cutting, the, you know.
Yeah, and talking about it being sort of a classist thing, is, you know, your servers, your single mothers who are servers, or they're working at whatever, the dollar store, or they're working at a little boutique, or all these tiny little places that have been closed this whole time. But if you're a government worker, you're still getting paid. Like, if you have one of these cushy office jobs, you're still getting paid. I don't know how it is here, but in Canada, all my teacher friends are still getting paid, whether they're coming into work or teaching on Zoom. You know, they're paid by the government. They still have paychecks. But my friends who are bartenders, they're freaking out. You know, all these kinds of jobs, and the stress is just causing so many health problems. So it's all a matter of perspective.
Well, I'm seeing a lot of like memes, which leads me to believe that they're based in some sort of reality about, you know, like how much alcohol I've been consuming since the, you know, or like how much food I've been eating, like what I'm going to look like when and so I'm thinking like, wow, I mean, is this what people are doing with their time? That's really, that's really,
I'm thinking,
that's not going to help you get healthier.
Right.
It is not a joke. My mom is in, you know, she's 89. She's in her home in Southern California, and called her the other day. What's on, you know, she's got the TV on. What's the TV pumping out? Fear. Okay. Panic, pandemic, fear.
And you can hear the panic in her voice.
Yeah.
So you talk to her, but you realize that that's on several hours a day. She's probably falling asleep to it. So it's permeating her. She can't be with anyone in the place. She's alone. They bring her meals. Only the staff can mill about. They let her go for a walk, but she can't go to someone else's apartment and hang out. She can't get together and play music with her friends like she did. She's just locked in. So people in general, expand this out, on lockdown, they're confined to their space. They're afraid to make any kind of connections. Okay. The children are now in that environment.
Mm-hmm.
They're exposed to whoever's locked down with them and whatever their vibe is. And the messaging coming from the mainstream is be afraid, be very afraid, don't touch anyone, put your mask on. So that's a metaphor for don't speak.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, when you cover, right, hear no evil, see no evil, speak no evil, right? So when you cover that mouth, you're saying, don't speak. You have free speech, but, you know, don't say too much.
Well, quite literally, I mean, YouTube is taking down any video that,
thank you.
You know,
Yeah.
That's not the only engine, but we're definitely seeing it there. Yeah.
A lot. Anything that has a counter narrative that is presenting information or statistics or facts that do not support the current lockdown and the rationale behind it is being blocked, it's either being blocked, taken down, or
discredited,
or discredited. But in a specious way, they trot out some suit from, you know, with a Harvard degree and a title in some think tank, and that's the one source that they're going to give for disputing. Like the doctors from Bakersfield, I watched that whole video. I don't know if you saw that one.
I didn't get to watch the whole thing. I got to watch an excerpt and then it was taken down.
Yeah,
correct.
That
was pretty legit.
Those guys seemed to know what they were talking about. They fielded a lot of questions from the press in real time. They answered them all in very intelligent, clear, concise ways. They weren't like up in some kind
They weren't really even against the lockdown per se. They were just suggesting that it should unfold differently from here on out. We're very
they said exactly that. They were like, you know, we don't think that it's been handled wrong. It's just like, let's think about how we're going to move forward because now we know more.
Yeah, exactly.
Now we have data. They were, and then but like I saw the clip on, Chris Hayes and MSNBC where they immediately trotted out some suit with a title and a degree from, some fancy Ivy League school to say these guys didn't read the data right.
Right. Yeah.
And
either way, the average person, you and me, like, we're not going to be reading scientific studies.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So
exactly.
How do we know either?
So they can summarily dismiss these two doctors and their findings with, just bring on one expert, and that information that doesn't support our narrative is now invalid. Yeah. It's like that simple. Yeah. The interesting thing, it was really interesting. So they say, we're talking about less than 1% of the population that is potentially dying from this, right? Mm-hmm. Okay, so in the context of the pandemic, less than 1% is no big deal. In the context of adverse effects from vaccines, 1% is no big deal, right? Like there potentially could be bad side effects that will affect less than 1%.
Right. If anti-vaxxers are cuckoo, but in this case, 1% is a huge concern.
Right. Right.
Well, I don't want to say that there aren't cuckoos on either side of this equation.
No.
And for me, it's like, it's not, the point isn't like whether it's even true or not. Like, I don't understand why YouTube is taking anything down. It's a free, it's a free platform. If somebody wants to say that, they created coronavirus in their toilet, like, what is I don't see the harm. People get to choose if they want to believe that or not.
Exactly. Let the kind of chips fall where they may. If something doesn't seem right, or it doesn't trend, or it does trend, just let it happen.
The problem isn't the information or the quality of it or the validity of it. The problem is that the person whose channel got wiped down, he had 1 million followers,
Right.
right?
Mm-hmm.
So if you have too big a following, too big an audience, that's the threat. That's the concern. That's the issue.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
You're reaching too many people with ideas that are contrary to the approved narrative.
Right. It's an interesting way to control that narrative, though, because in my view, it actually might gain less credibility if you just let it roll out, because
It's
now
true.
now people who might believe it are going, well, they're trying to shut this down. There must be something in this,
Yeah.
Sure. The more I
that.
want to see the band videos, right? Like
Right.
I want to watch
Why
them
were
all.
they banned? Yeah. Exactly.
I want to read the band books, right? Love that Catcher in the Rye.
Yeah.
So true.
Yeah, it's crazy. My son is coming out of the bath.
Oh,
Okay.
Sweet.
Okay.
We're good. Should we refill the
Just didn't want him to make an appearance. They're coming out of the bath. So yeah. Censorship.
Yeah.
Interesting.
It is interesting. I was going to go back to you were talking about alcohol consumption going up. And Harnam was talking about his mom on Cinco de Mayo. They came around and they handed them out like pints of tequila. So we called her and she's like, oh yeah, I got my pint of tequila. I'm doing fine. And it's like, okay.
And margarita mix.
Yeah.
Margarita mix. And
so she's in like a care facility?
Assisted living.
Okay.
It's very, very comfortable. It's very nice. She's, it's in Southern California, Playa Vista.
That's nice.
It's nice. It's like a condo for old people, and they have, nurses on staff if they're needed. They have, it's very, very nice. It's very, very comfortable. But again, it's just like they're all, my mom said, they call it, the residents themselves just call it God's waiting room. And the thing is that they're, attempting to be healthy and vibrant, but what is it? Human touch that we need. Humans need to connect with one another. And the more humans connect with one another, the more compassion and understanding and common ground we can create, whether, I'm from China and you're from France. It doesn't matter, right? Like there are things, my blood is red, your blood is red. I have emotions, you have emotions. I wake up every day, you build that common ground, and then you realize that there's really no need for division or conflict on the planet. And I think that when you divide and conquer, right? It's that simple. Well, now they're dividing, this state's closed. Now we've closed the borders. The whole thing is to divide and control and monitor.
Yeah.
And for now, everything's all commerce is happening. Well, not all, but a lot of stuff is happening online now. Online can easily be monitored and controlled, and you just have to go to China and you see they've got the facial recognition technology. If you jaywalk, they literally flash it on the screen and publicly shame you as being a bad citizen.
Wow.
That's a thing. That's real. That exists.
Well, do you have the new iPhone?
I do, yes.
How hilarious is it that they came out with a face recognition software like before everybody's like face is unrecognizable?
Yeah.
So they might be going back to fingerprints. I don't know.
I know.
Oh, that's funny. I didn't even think about that.
I don't wear a mask ever. So, like about a month ago, I was still like kind of putting on my bandana or my scarf just to be respectful to other people if I was in a public place like a grocery store. But no, I don't. I generally don't cover my face because I want
Yeah.
fresh air and I want my body to like expel the bad things, inhale the good things. And it's weird too, because when we were in California, it was like everyone was wearing masks and they looked at you weird if you weren't wearing one. And in Arizona, it started to feel like the other way around, where if you were wearing a mask, people would look at you like, relax. And so it's just like a totally different culture depending where you are.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
It was, I mean, at this point, I am very personally, I'm over it. I'm well over it, and I feel like it really has more to do with controlling the public and the consciousness than it has to do with an actual contagion. I think the real contagion is fear, in that you can pump up the fear, you can get people to do anything. We're getting trolled. Are you getting trolled, Sirgun, for any of your posts?
No.
Oh my God. So you have to love this, right? So we're posting these, we're playing music online, right? And, you know, no names, but somebody, Harnam, are you social distancing?
It was just the two of us, right? Like we haven't been with another human for I don't know how long, except for each other. But yeah, we were posting videos of us playing music.
And she's like, you know, people look up to you. You need to be responsible. Why aren't you? Like, first of all, lady, right? This is my partner. I don't even want to tell you where I'm not going there.
No,
but,
like, I hope that's your partner. Is that so it's like you have to. People are keeping an eye on each other, and in the worst cases, almost policing each other. And it's like you have to explain yourself to other people.
And then getting upset, like or just, you know, their fear is so intense that they're making up narratives about your posts. They're putting words into your mouth. Like, I posted something by a doctor who is, you know, who studies viruses and biomes, and, you know, and he was a young doctor. He had a really beautiful perspective. It was a great interview. I posted the whole thing. I thought it was articulate, intelligent, and really, really down. It wasn't fringe or radical in any way. And this woman, a woman I know on the East Coast, was trolling me about this post, saying, how come you're saying the doctors in New York are idiots?
Yeah. Or how can you put doctors and nurses? And
it's like, no one ever says anybody is an idiot. They present an alternative perspective to how the information and the data could be used to benefit health.
And that's just good science. I mean, when you're a scientist, you're hoping that someone will poke a hole in your theory so that you get closer to truth. Like you bust through this theory, you bust through that theory. And that's what the scientific process is all about. So when they're halting or slowing the scientific process, that just makes you question, well, why? Why are they stopping this? And it's like you're saying, when they're banning us from questioning things, then your antennas go up. I don't know what the conclusion is, but I know that the questions themselves are indicative of something weird's going on here. Sure.
Yeah, they need you know, and doctors themselves all over YouTube, you know, coming out of the emergency room, wondering why they're being told to put people on ventilators when what they're seeing is apoxia. Like a ventilator is when the lungs are having trouble.
When the muscles themselves can't
do the respiration. But what they're seeing in these patients is the inability of the hemoglobin to attach to the oxygen molecules and bring it into the blood.
Right.
Okay, which is more akin to like cyanide poisoning. Okay, and they're not treating them. There's like, we have treatments for hypoxia. That's like if you're at high elevation and your body's not able to get enough air or oxygen out of the air, you're suffocating by not getting enough air. That's why they bring air up onto Everest, that kind of thing. That's what the doctors were saying they were seeing in these emergency rooms. And yet they were being told to put the people on the ventilators, and then the ventilators were making it, they weren't helping. They were, because the issue wasn't the muscles, they were just kind of, and then.
Well, there was a doctor on YouTube also, I don't know if he was taken down or not, that he just felt, and that the ventilators were killing people that otherwise maybe would have been able to push through if they were not put on the ventilators. So I don't know.
Well, that's interesting to me, because that was one of my questions when this started, when my kids were sent home from school, was like, well, why don't we just let this play out? Like, why don't we just let people who are going to get the flu, and, you know.
They did that. They did that in Sweden.
Yeah. Well, but where I was going with is that somebody was saying, I guess the narrative was like, well, we don't have enough ventilators in the United States.
That was the narrative. Yeah.
There's
but
always.
Sweden's.
Go ahead.
I was going to say, no, the only thing I was say was that it looks like Sweden's been, you know, doing pretty well.
I think what I saw was, I mean, if you look at the numbers, I guess they had more cases, but not so significantly more cases.
Statistically, it was kind of insignificant. They maybe had like another 1,000 people, but in the context of the entire population of the country, statistically, it was insignificant.
So it was like letting people catch the flu, letting it play out, and I think they reached herd immunity. So that's the idea.
And on the other hand, Denmark did the lockdown, a similar population, similar region. They had less cases or deaths, slightly. Okay, statistically, again, insignificant, pretty much on par with Sweden, but without destroying the economy and without all the other things that happen, the spike in suicide, the spike in domestic violence, drug abuse, alcoholism, child abuse, all the things that happen when you lock down the culture.
There's people just not going for their chemotherapy, so that's something that's not cool at all. And the little kids that are stuck in their households that are not in such good households, whether there's abuse going on or whether there is no food to eat. Kids are going to school to get their meals, and now what's going on with them? And it just seems to me logically that there's a lot more harm being done because of this lockdown.
Well, I don't know if it was this way everywhere, but I think it says quite a bit about how we feel about education or the state of our schooling system when the first thing we do is shut down schools.
Right.
It was before restaurants, before anything.
That's true.
I would just
you
like.
You can still go to the liquor store. You can still you can't go to school.
You can't go to school.
Can't go to yoga.
Right. I was able to do yoga longer than my kids were able to go to school.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
I would like to point out that in authoritarian regimes, there is a playbook. And one of the things you want to do is keep people uneducated.
Yeah.
And shutting down the schools prevents people from getting an education. The other thing is you really want to silence the creatives, because that sort of middle class artists and intellectuals, maybe entrepreneurs, self-employed, that class of people, you definitely want to silence them. And then the weird thing about what's happening here and now is the health and fitness industry. Yet we're trying to prevent disease. We want to stay healthy. So that means go get on a freaking treadmill, right? Go move some energy, some chi, some prana, some blood through your body. Go meditate, right?
Breathe.
Breathe, meditate, do yoga, stretch. all these things. These are, and they're going to be the last to reopen, if ever.
Yeah.
Socializing and giving hugs, like that human touch, releases those good chemicals in your body. Kids need touch, babies need touch, but adults need touch too. And that our body chemistry is totally different when we're not hugging and touching our loved ones. It's just a fact.
Yeah, it's interesting how we must think. I mean, it really does sort of have this spotlight shining on how we think about healthcare, because not we, obviously not the three of us, but as a globe, where what you're going to do to, you know, maintain your health is you're simply going to avoid the evil bacteria that is out there. You're going to cover your face. You're not going to tend to, you know, your internal, you know, functions. You're not going to make sure that you're eating well for yourself, or, you know, moving your body, you know, like you were saying. You're just simply going to avoid that.
Yeah.
Right. That's, you know, live free or die, right? That's the state motto of New Hampshire. You know, it's a powerful thought. You know, what kind of life do you want to live?
Yeah.
You know, if I'm not living my life fully, then, you know, why bother? Yeah. Right? If I'm not able to live and love and hug and connect with people. And let's be real, Sirgun, we have been all over, not by choice, but by we were forced to shelter, but we couldn't shelter. We couldn't go stay with my mom. We couldn't go stay with our friends. I couldn't go stay with either of my brothers. Okay. One was locked up by a border. The other was taking care of his mother-in-law. So that, you know, she had just come out of a nursing home. She couldn't be exposed to us, right? So we've been all over, and it's been on us to stay healthy, right? And it's my entire life. It has been my own responsibility to maintain my health, because as an artist, long before I got into yoga and sacred chant, I was an artist and a general musician. Healthcare wasn't available to me through my job. I'm an American, right? So that meant learning how to stay healthy. That meant, you know, if I felt like I was getting sick, I take echinacea, I take golden seal, I take homeopathic remedies that, you know, come from France, that were developed during the Spanish flu outbreak of, you know, 1918, right? Oscillococcinum. You can buy it, but I find it really knocks out any kind of flu symptoms if you know, drinking tea, eating well, making yourself curry, eating hot peppers, eating garlic, eating ginger, cooking for yourself, food as medicine, and then just resting. Lots of fluids, right? There's plenty of ways. Nowhere in the media narrative is boosting human immunity or teaching people how to boost their immune system through simply.
I've never seen that on the news. Like,
not
I've never
on the
seen
news.
them
It's,
talk
to be fair, we're not watching a lot of it, but yeah, I would imagine that is the case.
That I'm avoiding media, but I don't feel like there's a lot out there with, oh, here's half an hour with a nutritionist on how to boost your immune system. And all this fear. When the fear arises in you and your cortisol levels spike up, you don't get as good of a sleep. You can't sleep, you can't eat, your body doesn't absorb nutrients because your cortisol levels are all out of whack. So this fear is just directly related to illness. Yeah. It's totally contradictory. Yeah. I mean, I remember times in my life where I've been super stressed out. I would get sick all the time. So, I mean, if you have more sick people, I mean, we should just look at that, look at your cortisol levels and why they're spiking like that.
Yeah. Well, if everybody understood that their health was their responsibility, then they would have less fear, because they would be the beginning and end of where to look, you know?
They would be empowered, which is what people like you and we do, right? We empower people through music, through practice, through, you know, through music, spiritual practice, yoga, healing. You can't go get a massage. What does everybody need right now? a freaking massage.
Oh.
Why? Because we've been on lockdown for 3, 4, 5 months. I want healing touch.
Yeah. Oh, and
I
if you
want to
live in Washington and you are a masseuse, I'm totally in for a black market massage. So
Exactly.
PM me.
I think there's some black market stuff going on, and it's pretty, yeah, it's fun. Yeah, black market massage, black market rendezvous.
Okay, but what's up with that? What
Uh,
is up with that? The fact you can put black market and massage in the same sentence, and it's actually a real thing.
Oh my gosh. You got to hope it's not going to last much longer.
I know.
Well, the thing I think, oh, go ahead.
It's just up to the people, you know. We're so divided and we're so scared. And we don't know. We have facts and we have numbers and we can debate. And the debating is good. But when people don't want to debate and don't want to expand our ideas, that's what's going to probably keep this thing going longer. So it's really up to the people to just be open and loving and not judge each other, but really just keep speaking to each other to come to the best possible solution we can.
Yeah. Well, I think it's going to do a lot of different things for different people. And one of the things I see as a positive is like, I'm sure you guys have had this. I've definitely had this where you had this like critical moment where it was like, I can no longer rely on the news, or I can no longer rely on my healthcare provider because there's something that just isn't working with how I've been doing it for, the longest time. And I mean, I feel like this is going to be a catalyst for so many people to go, well, this isn't working. There must be something else,
Yeah, I hear you. Yeah, this could be the awakening of everyone taking responsibility and seeing things for what they are.
We were shocked last night when we, got invited to play for those wonderful ladies, down the hall. They were telling this stuff to us. And it was like, wow.
Yeah.
I was like, thank you.
Yeah, it just restored my faith in humanity, because I was like, you're just ordinary people. Like, one's a nurse, one's an artist, one was a harpist.
Yeah.
They were just, regular people. They weren't necessarily like fringe people with quote unquote conspiracy theories. They were just really logical, calm, sane-minded people. And they were like, what is this?
Yeah, they were just really seeing very clear-eyed through it, like, this is bullshit.
Yeah.
And they were like, reaching, I guess they felt our energy. Mm-hmm. And we're like, yeah, these people are cool. Let's bring them. But that's the thing. That's what we do. We connect people. Do you know, if we I think about that concert, Sirgun, we're going to do that. We really want to come play with you. We want to, the power, fine. There was 5 people. We played for 5 people. Uh-huh. So there were 7 of us. We were under 10. It's still legal. Okay. but, the power, this as well as we do, the power of, not 7 people, but 70 people or 170 people. Or 300, 500, chanting together, being together, singing together, coming together in spirit. It's exponential.
Yeah.
And part of me really feels like the lockdown is intended to try to keep that expansion of spirit from
distance.
Yeah, social distancing is a way to keep people from connecting. Connections that you would ordinarily make now, you view the other person with suspicion and concern. Go ahead, that's fine.
You're not wearing pants.
Yeah, colored borders.
I'm admiring his Duplo house. So here, I'll show everybody here.
Oh, that's great.
It's not a Duplo house. What is it?
It's like a skyscraper.
Is that Amrit Munter?
It's Prembayant. If you put some clothes on, you can come say hi.
No, that's not me.
No, I meant you on your body.
That's what it looks like my mouth.
Okay, yeah, this thing that kind of looks like his mouth.
Oh, that's really rad.
Yeah,
That's mine.
excellent.
This is a Jiwan cow.
Before we break, it seems like I may have reached my limit of
This is a
alone time.
Jiwan cow.
I noticed that you guys have a fundraiser going. Do you want to mention that, and we can get the word out about that?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, sure. Thank you. Sure. We in, dotting the I's and crossing the T's. Yeah, we did a fundraiser on Facebook. If someone wanted to support us there, that's fine. But really what we'd rather have you do is join us online for one of our yoga classes or a concert. We have a tip jar where you can, make a donation on the website at iamharnam.com.
Okay.
But the other thing we're doing is we've got these great T-shirts.
Oh, yeah.
Well, you should show her.
Yeah.
Did you make them? You were telling me about them. I think
Yeah. We made them to get out on the road, right? Like people don't buy CDs so much anymore, but we made these really.
Once I stay connected to you. It's so beautiful. Awesome.
Yeah. So we've got them in like the racerback tank or a T-shirt style also.
Awesome.
And that's a painting, original painting by Harnam of Joshua Tree. And we put like the gold flower of life over top, and all the print is in gold. So
cool.
it's really cool.
I noticed there was this family that was doing videos that they were doing like a song, like a cover every day. It was really cute. And they had a virtual tip jar, and they just gave their Venmo. So it was like at whatever, and it was super easy. So I was like, I'll just do that. Do you have a Venmo that people can easily?
Venmo, yes. Yes. I have a Venmo. It was just PayPal me at Harnam.
Okay.
TonyZatzik.com or whatever. I might pay, but hold on, let me find my Venmo.
The PayPal link is on the website.
Okay. I'll include all of that.
Awesome.
Okay, so let me just see. Be pay or request. Oh, let me see. My Venmo.
I thought that was so easy because I had my phone. I was like,
at Harnam Tony Zatzik.
Yeah.
Okay.
At Harnam.
Okay. Tony Zatzik. And it's CK?
ZATZICK. That's correct.
Okay, cool. And you have a little photo of yourself there so people can.
Yeah, it's a picture of my can you see that?
It's like the little yellow the All Roads cover.
Okay, but yeah, you'll recognize it. Okay, cool. I think that's such like an easy way and a fun way.
Yeah, is that easier for people? I don't even know.
But I'll be honest, Sirgun. It's like we appreciate all help and support and donations, obviously. But what we really want to do is just be out working and connecting people in the real world. And we want people to join us for yoga and for chanting and meditations.
If anyone wants one of these intimate house concerts, we'll come on down. So just
that's right.
Seriously.
Yeah.
Seriously, we'll drive. We'll come find you.
Yeah, it was so energizing just to be with those 5 people. It was like, I was just my heart was just bursting. So
awesome. Well, also a reminder that if somebody does send you money, not to consider it a donation, but to consider it an exchange for something that they've received from you, because they're obviously feeling like they've already gotten something.
Well, Waheguru, thank you for that. No, and the thing is though, it's like we're so all in this together.
Yeah.
Like I saw you, we have a mutual friend, Mike Harnack, Mike Tamburo, Crown of Eternity. Like it's really hard to do gong over the Zoom, Like,
if anyone's wondering, the gong sounds pretty good over Facebook Live.
Okay.
We've tested it out. So
yeah.
There's some audio settings tweaking that someone was showing me too in Zoom that you can do.
Really?
So.
Yeah, no.
We haven't found
no. I'm just gonna save you the time. Yes, yes, tweak the audio in Zoom, but no, don't try to play a gong over Zoom. One instrument, okay. Don't try to do multiple instruments and multiple voices. There's something about
it's like you said, it sounds like that 80s cassette tape, like crackle, like it just doesn't work. So
yeah. All right. Oh, he's ready to say hi, and then we'll say bye. Oh no, never mind. You're gonna stay there. All right. Well, it was so lovely chatting with you guys. And if you do wend through Washington, you're welcome to come over. And I have a little bit bigger of a rehearsal space for us now.
Oh wow.
Yeah, we moved, which was nice. Yeah.
Oh really?
Oh really?
Oh, cool.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, we'll have to come by and see the new place then.
Yeah. Super fun.
Just hang out.
Yeah, that'd be lovely.
And please give our love to everyone. Give our love to Juan and to All Miss Stuck, and to both of your beautiful children. We look forward to seeing you real soon, and can't wait to do a concert with you, Sirgun.
I know, it'll feel so good.
I called you. I'm sorry, Porter.
Oh no, that's okay. Well, you know what, whichever you feel more comfortable with. I'm actually, like, when I did change my name originally and someone called me Porter, I'm like, oh God, please don't remind me. But it's all good.
I love that name, by the way. But yeah.
Yeah, so
getting used to, right?
Was that your birth name?
Porter, yeah, that was my birth name, Porter.
Oh wow.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. I love it.
Okay, fantastic. Yeah. All right, Porter Sirgun.
I like it. All right.
We love you. We love you. Thank you.
Love you. Bye.
Bye.